Today's video will explain a commit graph. Hello, I'm James Helfrich. Sometimes source management problems can become quite complex, especially when there are multiple participants and multiple teams. So how do you make sense of it all? How do you visualize it? Well, fortunately, we have a tool for that. It's called a commit graph. This video will explain the components of a commit graph and show a few examples. A commit graph is a tool used to visualize the various versions of an asset through a time interval. So the start symbol is a hollow circle with a plus sign. The plus indicates that we're going to begin a new branch or a new project. And usually we name the branch or project in the start symbol as well. Next, we have the end circle. The end circle is a hollow circle with an X in the middle, indicating that the branch has been deleted. A filled circle is called a version, and here we're going to make an edit to a branch. This could be adding a file or changing a file or even changing multiple files. A line is an edge indicating the relation between versions. It is not uncommon to color a branch line to make it visually distinct or to add emphasis. For an example, if I'm going to have 3 or 4 different team branches, I might have the red team have a red line, and that would help us understand and visualize that particular branch better. We can indicate a given branch is active with a little tab symbol. Only one branch can be active for a given moment in time. This active branch is signified by the active branch tag. A divergent line, most versions have a single edge leading out of it, indicating that one version circle stems directly from another. In this case, we're reading from top to bottom, and at that open circle, then we're going to have our main branch is going to continue, but a new branch is going to come off. This could be that we're going to copy the entire contents of the branch, or it could be a single resource is being pulled over to another branch. It is possible for a single version to have more than one parent. In this case, the data from 2 branches are merged. We represent a convergent event with a hollow circle and a dot in the middle, the dot indicating a merge. For an example, if 2 edits are made to the same file, then those 2 separate edits are going to have to be merged together, and that merge action is indicated with a dot. So to indicate how this works, let's consider the following example. We have my project, and it's going to begin, so we're going to have the plus symbol, and this corresponds to the add project source management pseudocode. And then we're going to have an edit event. In this case, we're going to add a file, file.txt. Now notice that a filled circle could mean many types of edits. It could mean that I'm changing a resource, I'm adding a resource, adding multiple resources, making multiple changes. On a commit graph, these all look the same. Now I'm going to have a divergent event, which means I'm going to take one branch, namely my project, and break it into 2. The new project called second is going to be created. Now notice how that we're both going to have a divergent symbol as well as a branch can be created. And this is called add branch in pseudocode. Next, we're going to have another edit. In this case, I'm going to update my file.txt. And another edit, I'm going to update file.txt again. Now, what I like to do is bring these edits over to the second branch. So I'm going to move over to the second branch by saying I'm going to load branch second. And then I'm going to make an edit to the second branch. Now I'm going to bring the changes from my project into the second branch by doing a pull. Now notice we're going to do a pull because we're from the context of the second branch. If we were still on the first branch, in other words, if my project was the active branch, I would do a push to have the same effect. Now I'm going to push my changes from second back to my project by saying push my project. Now, once again, if my current branch was my project, then I would do that same thing with a pull. In other words, whether it's a pull or a push depends upon your context. Now I'm going to change over to my project by saying load branch. Now I'm going to kill the second branch by saying delete branch. Okay, let's go through another example. On the left, we have some source management pseudocode. Now, pause the video for a moment and see if you can create a commit graph corresponding to this pseudocode. Okay, we'll start with add project example 1.5.1, and that's going to be the open circle with a plus. In this case, our project's going to be called example 1.5.1. Next, we're going to say add file 1, and we do an add file or an edit file for that matter with a filled circle. Next, we're going to say add branch second, and this is going to be a divergent branch, and we're going to add a new branch with a plus, and we're going to call it second. Then we're going to load branch second, which means we're going to indicate that the second branch is our current branch, and we use that tag mark for that. Next, we're going to update file1.txt. Now observe we're currently in the second branch, so therefore the edit tag goes in the second branch. Then we're going to update file1.txt, same thing. And then we're going to load branch example 1.5.1, and now we're going to move that tag over to example 1.5.1, which is the left of the 2 branches. Next, we're going to update file1.txt by giving it a filled circle. Notice how the filled circle goes in the active branch always. Then we're going to load branch second. So this is going to once again move the tag over to the second branch. Then we're going to pull example 1.5.1. So we're going to take the one file edit we have in the first branch, and then we're going to move it into the second branch. So we're going to have the divergent symbol plus the merge. And why the merge? Because our two changes in second branch are going to be merged with the single change in example 1.5.1. Now we're going to push example 1.5.1. So the newly merged file1.txt is now going to go back into the main branch. We're going to load branch example 1.5.1, so that becomes our current branch. And then finally, when we say delete branch, now we're going to have that X symbol in second. You can learn more about commit graphs in the commit graphs section, and example 1.5 generate commit graphs in the source management chapter of the software design textbook.